My name's Samuel Leeds, and this week on Winners on a Wednesday, I'm going to be interviewing somebody I met a couple of years ago. When I met this person, he had no money, he was at university with lots of debt, he had no property experience whatsoever, and now fast forward just a little over 2 years later, he's financially free, he owns 9 houses, and he'll never have to work a day in his life unless he wants to. Please welcome onto the show, John Raybould. So, how did you get into property? What happened? And how did it mess your life up?
Well, I got into property January 2018. I came on your crash course and it sort of opened my eyes completely. I was a university student. I continued to be a university student whilst doing your academy and courses. Studying history and politics at that time. I didn't really have a direction, and sort of going on your crash course and getting into property just completely changed my mind, my life really.
Yes.
Completely, my perspectives and everything changed.
Now you became financially free within like 6 months.
Yes, very
and
quickly.
You came on Winners Wednesday.
Yes.
But you've grown so much over the last sort of 8, 9, 10 months. You've had properties go wrong. You've had tenants who are the worst kind of tenants.
Yes.
And you wanted to sort of give an update as to the problems that you've had, the challenges that you've had, how you've overcame them, how you've grown, and to give people a kind of real balanced view of being a property investor, right?
Oh, completely, yeah. I mean, the theory's there. The theory behind sort of the property is easy. Sometimes on the ground level, you can encounter problems. It's how you get over those problems what is the key thing. So I've had some seriously bad tenants. I've had issues with sort of builders, everything you can imagine I've had. But it's about getting over those problems.
You've had Japanese knotweed.
Yep.
You've had tenants not paying. You've had tenants trashing the house.
Yep.
You've had all kind of problems. But the thing is, I think in your life, you're always going to have problems. It's just a case of having better kind of problems.
It's about the mindset of how to get over those problems, I'd say.
Right.
People are always going to have problems. Doesn't matter what area of property you're in, what sort of tenants you're dealing with. People will always have problems. It's how you think about getting over those problems and staying positive and just continually pushing is what you need to do.
John, when you're at university, all your university friends, presumably their problems is stuff like, I need to advise for this exam, or I'm running late for my class, or I'm bored, or I need to figure out what I'm going to do in my future. That's their problems. Your problems are, I've got Japanese knotweed in my investment property.
Yes.
That is not a typical problem for, how old are you?
Well, when I was at university, I was 21, 22 at that point. So
now you're 20?
Now I'm 23.
Now you're 23?
Yes.
So we've been working together for like 2 years.
Yes.
So what I want to do is, first I want to get big picture about how you became financially free to property. We have done a video on that before, so if you want to see that, just check. We'll put a link just above. But just give us a bit of a big picture. How much money did you have when you started?
So when I started, obviously, as university, I had my student loan, which was to support me through university, but I didn't have any other savings or anything like that. I had to network and use people within my network, within my network and sort of their networks to bring in investment money.
And did you use your student money to invest in property?
I used, to start off, to get into the academy, I put some of my student money down as a deposit because I was 100% convinced that I wanted to be in this and I wanted to, press forward with this. Yeah. And then I found the rest of the academy money through sort of investors.
See, some people would tell me not to do that. Some people would say, don't let people go into debt, and university students use all their student debt to go on my training programs because that's being like irresponsible. But I've seen so many people like you that have done that. Actually, irresponsible is going, what did you study at uni?
History and politics.
How's that going to help you?
I thought that when I was doing it.
It's not going to help you, bro.
I know.
Like, that's irresponsible. How much did that cost you, that university program?
So it's £9,000 a year times 3, so 27.
Like 27. Spending 27 grand to study history? Help me out, man.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but I did see the point. I did see, once I was in property, I did see that it wasn't going to be my future. It was my mum who wanted me to finish the final year, and I was like...
I didn't even want you to finish.
Yeah, you did say you didn't want me to finish.
I didn't just stop it.
I was like, I'll do it for my mum, I'll get it finished.
Yeah, but you can't... I guess you've done it now. There's no point flogging over a dead horse. But so many people go to university to please their parents.
Yeah, I see. The thing is, I'd obviously set up my company. I was into property. I was doing what I wanted. But I knew I wanted to make my mum proud as well, and I knew I could do that on the side with university. So I was just like, get it sorted.
All right,
now I'm free.
All right, so you chose to spend £27,000 and 3 years of your life doing something to make your mum happy. Fine, but at least you were smart enough to also set up a property business and do that. Are you ever going to have a job in your life?
I'll never have to work under someone else. No, I'll always, personally myself, I'll always be in property and I'll always be my own boss.
Yeah, and of course, you might have to work because you might have to manage your property, especially if you're tenants.
Of course, yes, some of my yes. There's always a sense of work being a business owner, but I'll never be controlled by anybody else, which is the main thing.
Starting up, then you were like, I want to do HMOs. You went on to the advanced training, you learned the skills, had no money. We then did I seriously helped you with some of those calls.
Yes, so helping me raise finance and stuff. Yeah, when we had our one-to-one, you helped me. You sat me down. We went through my phone, and you basically sorted me out with getting the money.
That was the most awkward conversation.
Yeah,
and I don't know if we talked about it on the first Winners Wednesday, but like you were phoning people that you knew, family, friends, network, whatever, and I was telling you what to say, and you were like pressing mute. I was telling you, and then you were unmuting and you were saying it. They were responding.
That's exactly what happened.
And within like minutes. You raised how much money?
So we raised about half an hour. We raised 400,000.
And you're not from a big wealthy background, surrounded by kings and princes and stuff.
No. It's just basically tapping into people who I didn't even know would be interested in this kind of thing. As soon as I said I'm interested in it, yes, they wanted to help me. Obviously to help themselves as well. They wanted to help push me forward.
That's incredible. Okay, so you raised some finance. And by the way, anyone that's thinking, I couldn't raise finance, there is so much money in people's banks. When you have the skill to be able to invest that money, as long as you can offer them better than the bank, and offer them something safe, something good, a joint venture or a fixed interest. I mean, come on, it's just, what do you think? I mean, already at this point, most people watching this who are your age will be thinking, I could never raise 400,000. You don't have to raise 400, you can raise 40,000.
People who say they'll never do it will never do it. You've got to have the mindset, you've got to be open to it, you've got to have the mindset of, I will do this. That's what I always think. So I will raise finance. Doesn't matter how much, I will raise finance. And when you've got that kind of mindset, you will succeed in it. So there's plenty of other people in the academy like Anthony John who've got that mindset. I will do something, and they do it because of that.
Exactly. If you have the mindset and the skill, the training and the ability to take massive action together with persistence and self-belief and support, how can you not fail? History studying, 21, 22-year-old, no money, flat broke. Suddenly you got money. Awesome. Then what happened?
So then I always had to find the property deals what I wanted. So I located a couple of property deals, got offers in, and we set off with our first HMO.
Yes.
From there, obviously there's redevelopment needed. But once the first one was up and running, that gave me the confidence to just keep going. So we've got
mostly
now
HMOs.
Mostly, yes. So I've got 6 HMOs, and there's 2 single lets as well.
Cool.
I'm mainly focused on HMOs.
Yeah, because the single lets might make you, what, £200 or £300 a month?
Yes, there's not massive amounts of profit.
What about the HMOs?
The HMOs generally, dependent on the number of people in them, bigger ones I'm looking about £1,000 minimum profit. Smaller ones I'm looking maybe £500 a month profit.
So across the board, I mean that's like what, like 4 or 5 grand?
Oh yeah. So about 4 or 5 grand a month profit is what's been brought in,
So, and you've done that with raised finance, you've done that with joint ventures.
Yes.
I know you pulled your dad in as well.
Yes, so I pulled my dad obviously to one of my
He was so sceptical.
Yes, you helped him though. I obviously took him to your crash course. I dragged him to one later down the line, got him on board, and then obviously we set a company up together and we just ploughed on together.
So good. Yeah. And I think if you can do that, if you can persuade it's hard to persuade your parents, and what I say to young folks is, don't try and persuade them, let me persuade them.
Yeah.
You bring them to a crash course and watch what happens.
No, my dad has been obviously amazing and very supportive with it, and it's good to have someone there who, when you're having a negative day, they'll pick you up, and when he's having a negative day, I'll pick him up.
Your dad though, he's such a nice guy, but when I first met him, he was the biggest skeptical, negative, surely it won't work.
Yes, to start with, but bringing him to the crash course completely changed him, opened his eyes to what could be done. And from sort of that moment, that sort of inspirational moment, we've worked together and we've ploughed on with the property. And when we've hit problems, we've just looked at, problem, how do we get around this?
Why did you choose the strategy out of interest? Because one of the reasons, I mean, you've had all kinds of problems, but and a problem is just an opportunity to learn though, right?
It's just a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to get over it.
Yeah.
I
saw a video, I think it was one of the academy members that showed me a video of the CCTV with some of your tenants in the kitchen. And they were like throwing chairs around, they were And I was watching it and I was horrified.
Yeah, so I mean, with regards to some of the HMOs, we were having a couple of the HMOs that have benefit tenants in, we were having very bad issues with behaviour and stuff. So there's ways to get around that. And one of the solutions was, well, let's install CCTV in the communal areas. And
does that get around the problem, or does that just mean you can watch it?
That, well, to a degree, it calmed it down. There were instances like what we saw, but that's also meant that, for instance, if it's people coming into the house, like friends of tenants, and they're causing issues, we can prosecute them. Because so we've got some people getting done on criminal charges for smashing things up.
Dude, this life though, this landlord life that you have, like, as you know, I invest in properties and get professional tenants. That's my model. You have gone down a different model, which does create problems for sure. Do you regret it, or do you think overall, are you glad you did that?
I mean, I've got HMOs as professional tenants, and I've got HMOs where sort of benefit tenants. There's pros and cons to both.
Give me the pros and cons.
So pros and cons for benefit tenants are, obviously you can get cheaper houses. The houses don't have to be as immaculate as if you were dealing with professional tenants. So, you know, everything doesn't have to be really well painted, really nice. It's more functional.
Everything's cheap, but then you're dealing with cheap tenants.
Yeah, cheap and functional. So that's obviously a big benefit. You have to put as much money in. The houses are cheaper, so it's a cheaper start off. There is then the issues with obviously tenants, which is the negative. So some tenants, can't lump everyone together, but some tenants can have issues paying you. That has happened.
Do you not get the council to pay you direct?
No. So with the way universal credit works, generally the universal credit is paid. The first payment is paid direct to the tenant, and then if the tenant, for instance, doesn't pay me the rent, I can then forward to the council with a UC47 claim for the rent to be paid direct to me. Once all the rents in a house have been paid direct to the landlord, direct to me, you're laughing because you're getting all the money in direct.
But then you're laughing financially, but then you've still got potentially them damaging the property.
The thing is, not all tenants are good. Not all benefit tenants, are bad though. So some of them, there's some very nice guys who live in my properties, but there are some more challenging and difficult tenants.
Yes.
The thing is, once you find out who the challenging, difficult tenants are, you just have to, you have to work from there. You potentially get rid of them, potentially try and work with them, saying, look, you can't behave like this, give them warnings.
Do you manage the tenants yourself? Do you have a management company? How does it work?
So what's happened is I do have a management company for all my HMOs, but we've had such serious problems in a couple of the larger HMOs to start with that I helped out with, like, for instance, going around and checking stuff. And from a sort of another perspective, I'm actually interested in the sort of how everything works, the lettings and stuff. So from a perspective of like growing and learning, it's actually been very useful to go around and deal with some certain things.
And also, John, you love the psychology of it all, don't you?
I've still not worked some of them out, but...
No, but you do though. You sit there with me and you're like trying to figure them out and trying to work out why do they do that and how does this, and trying to understand why tenants do a certain thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, in some ways, yeah. It's sort of...
I don't sign up for that why is this class. For me, I'd rather deal with professional tenants, reference them well, get credit checks, references, and at high end. But I know a lot of people on the academy like yourself who are going down that route and they're killing it. And if everybody did the same thing, if everyone just said professional only, then suddenly, well, what about LHA tenants?
Of course, yeah. I mean,
someone has to do it. I'm just glad that it's you and not me.
It's just an area I've sort of gone down. Will I continue going down it for many years? I don't know, but I've obviously tried professional tenants. I've got certain HMOs with professional tenants.
They're going well.
Yeah, I've not had serious problems with them. The tenants have all been fine.
So do you think you could just like absolutely kill it with this strategy? This LHA, HMOs, buy them cheap, functional, put the tenants in, wait for the tenants to miss a payment, then get the council to pay you direct, keep an eye on them, keep close to them, have CCTV there, and just, could that be your big thing? Potentially,
yeah. I mean, the thing is, there's so many people who are in that sort of position, on benefits and that kind of thing. Not many landlords cater towards them.
No, they don't.
So, if obviously I do cater towards them, I'm not. There's so many tenants, there's so much choice and demand there. I can potentially maybe reference them a bit better, but try. I'll always have people in there. I'll never have void periods.
And you're making good money.
Yeah, definitely making good money from it. It's just part of the game, really.
Your life is not like the average 23-year-old's life.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
Making good money, managing really difficult tenants. So talk to me about some of the other problems that you've had. Talk to me about some of the problems you've had with builders and the houses.
So we've had issues with builders. So for example, it was on the single let properties when we were trying to get that renovated. It was a project with me and my dad. My dad more decided to use a family friend to try and do the building work and try and sort everything out, like the kitchen and stuff. But this is the problem with sort of dealing with people sometimes who are very close to you. He doesn't want to mess up the friendship, and when obviously this guy wasn't doing the work properly and getting it all sorted on time, and stuff was taking a lot longer, he couldn't really do anything. So eventually we learned from that we have to use sort of more external people who, you know, we sort of have legitimate contracts with, get everything sorted.
Yeah. Because sometimes when you almost feel like someone's doing you a bit of a favour, or someone says, I'll do you a bit of a deal, I'll do you a bit of a, and then you're better off to just pay what's needed. And
completely.
Yeah.
So basically, we've learned that. We've learned to do everything properly, you know, actually get good builders in, get good contracts set with them, and then just progress. It's not always best to work with the people who it can work out on balance, but we found that we did have issues with the guy when he was obviously trying to do the work.
So with builders, and so how do you find and liaise with good builders?
So generally, obviously, I would say, ask to look at previous work that they've done. If you can look at that and you know, if you go look at the previous work they've done, you're happy with that sort of standard, then that might be a good builder for you. Obviously, if you've got a builder, if you go and talk to a builder and the builder, you know, you say, I've got a project, and he says, yeah, I can do it. Let's say it's Friday evening. He says, yeah, I can do it Monday. He's not got a lot of work on. So potentially that might mean he's not in high demand. He might not be that good. Look at it from the perspective of if a builder says, well, I can do you in 2 weeks, mate. That might mean that obviously a lot of people are using him. He is skilled. He is good at what he does. Professional. He might be the sort of guy.
Great, good. So look at their previous work. Make sure that they're not desperate. At the same time, you don't want them. Some builders are like, I'll do it in 6 months because
you can't work with that. But there's a balance.
Do you use building teams, or do you use one-man bands, or does it depend on the project?
Depends on the project. Completely depends on the project. I have used like sort of one-man bands. I have used building teams. I've used, you know, sorted out the separate trades myself sometimes. But I would always say having a building team is the best way to go.
So talk to me about the big Japanese knotweed. Talk to me about that, because that's something that's very taboo. Everyone's scared of it. Firstly, tell us, what is Japanese knotweed? So
it's an invasive species, which obviously you can if it grows on your land or around your properties, you can have issues getting remortgages on the property.
And it's deadly, right?
Yeah.
You can't even. I mean, I've had problems with Japanese knotweed, and you can't even take it to the tip.
Oh no, you can't do anything like that. You've got to get treated.
It's like because it grows through concrete. It can literally bring down a castle.
It can bring. I mean,
I've got it in my castle.
Yeah, of course.
So I've got it. It's all sorted. We knew beforehand that there was Japanese knotweed. So with your house, did you know, or was it a surprise?
It was it was an unfortunate surprise, really.
That is not good. No,
it's not at all. But we've got it treated, and we'll obviously been working with the treatment. We're getting it sorted.
How much did it cost to get it treated?
It's about 5,000, I think. It's only sort of a smallish area, but we didn't want to leave it and let it sort of.
So you bought this house, and did you think, oh my gosh, the house is so cheap, I can't believe I got such a good purchase, and then you realised, oh
yeah. So we'd basically been refurbing it, just about finished refurbing it, and then it was, what's that small weed? That looks didn't look good. And then obviously we got it checked out with a professional, came round, and he said, yeah, you've got Japanese knotweed. Only in a very small area, but you've got to treat a sort of wider area around it. Yeah,
but that can be devastating. I mean, you were kind of fortunate.
Yes, we were.
$5,000 is not, I mean, that can just mean your house is zeroed, it's valued at zero.
Yeah, you can have some serious problems.
So did you not get a survey on the house before you bought it?
The thing was, it wasn't. It's as if, obviously, when we bought the house, I'd looked in the garden myself, surveyor had come round, they'd looked in the garden, there was nothing there. It's as if, obviously, when we had started the building work, that kind of thing, and we'd nearly finished, it's as if we disturbed the ground and then it started to grow.
So how do you stop that happening? How do you make sure that you do not have Japanese knotweed before you buy a house?
I would say it's difficult. I would say surveys are key to it, and obviously your own personal vision, going around doing viewings. But I would say it can occasionally happen to anyone. Maybe ask neighbours if...
Very unlucky.
Very unlucky.
See, normally, if there's Japanese knotweed, it will be on the description because the estate agent has to say it. Then if the estate agent misses it, the surveyor should definitely pick it up. For it to be that hidden, the surveyor misses it. I mean,
sometimes it's disturbed. Sometimes if the ground is disturbed through building work, it can sort of like stay hidden. And then.
But I guess if it was bad Japanese knotweed, the surveyor would see it.
Oh yeah, if it was bad Japanese knotweed, the surveyor would see it, and you'd know, and you'd be informed, and everything would be fine.
Yeah.
We'd progress accordingly. But because it was only a little patch, I suppose it kind of got missed.
Tell me what an average day for John Raybould looks like, and also talk to me about the relationships. I know you've become very much part of the inner circle within the academy, made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Just talk to me about like an average day in the life of John.
So generally what I'll do is I'll liaise with, I'll get up early. I have to get up early because obviously you've got to make the most of your day. Even though I don't have a job I have to get up to, you have to, being an entrepreneur, I have to maximise my time.
Yeah.
So I'll liaise with estate agents if I'm looking for deals. So I'll be looking for deals constantly, potentially to sell on or potentially for myself to work with. I'll be talking to letting agents, making sure money's come in, transactions, everything like that. I'll be making sure that the properties are all sort of maintained. So I'll also be talking to the letting agents in that sense. Basically, just keeping everything under control. Potentially, if there's building work going on, I'll be liaising with the sort of building team, finding out if everything's working smoothly, going well. So just sorting everything out, really. Just being a proper entrepreneur.
So you're like real hands-on in property.
Yes, yeah.
What do you think? Do you think passive income exists?
I would say passive income. That if you're a business owner, you've always got to have your eye on the ball. But passive income does exist. I'm just wanting to grow my business faster, and so because I'm obviously very hands-on in that sense, wanting to grow things as fast as I can.
Because I guess if you wanted to, if you're making $4 or $5 a month, you could probably pay someone $2 a month to replace you, and you literally do nothing and just make a couple grand a month, and that would be completely passive. But you're thinking, I'm going to push this, I'm going to grow, I'm going to learn.
Of course, I'm only young. I mean, I'm only 23. I want to grow, I want to learn, I want to expand things. And obviously, there would be the option, to pay someone $2 a month and let them do it. But I wouldn't grow. I'd sort of stagnate as a person. And obviously, that's not what I want to do. I want to keep my business growing and potentially go into other areas. Yeah. So I've got to keep going, keep everything under my own control. So
you've had a lot of problems. You've had challenges. Big picture, how's things looking?
I mean, obviously, everyone's going to have challenges. Big picture, everything's going great. We've got over the problems, and that is the key thing. Everyone will have problems. Everyone will have challenges, and I like to see them as challenges, but it's getting over them. We've got over most of ours, and from that sort of perspective, now we're on about £5,000, £6,000 a month profit. Everything is going well financially. Obviously, I can't thank you enough for all the training and everything like that you've given me and helping me to progress with this. But yeah, everything's looking rosy now. It's just we went through a bit of a problem patch with tenants.
And you'll have more problems.
Of course I will, yeah.
Talk to me about, because I appreciate we're saying about the training and that's what we do. We help people be property investors. How could life have been if you'd have had all the problems without the training, knowledge, support?
Without the training, knowledge, support, I wouldn't have actually got into property. But if, for instance, I had got into property and I had hit these kind of problems, I would have just been stumped. I wouldn't have had the mindset. I wouldn't have been given the mindset to know how to push through and get over problems, to find solutions. A lot of it, obviously, there's the training, there's the learning, but a lot of it is the mindset. And once you've got that mindset, and I obviously got the mindset through training, seeing other people who were like doing well, and wanting to be like them. Once you've got that kind of mindset to get over problems, you're flying.
Also, I think environment and friendships, like if you are on your own and you don't have friends who are property investors and you've got all these problems, it's like, what the heck do I do with this? Because your friends at university, presumably not many of them are in property.
No. I mean, they're interested in what I was doing to a degree, but I couldn't really talk to them about a property issue or anything like that. So it was important to have networks of people who are actually interested in the same thing in property, who obviously I met people in the academy, I met people at other networking events. It's important to have like a circle of people you can talk to about your property issues and sort of resolve them together as a team kind of thing sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Because and then you can share your burdens with people.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You might be having problems with you might have loads of funds and loads of properties and loads of tenants, but you're struggling to manage the tenants. Someone else might have a problem that they've only got one house and they want more tenants.
Yeah.
And you say, let's share each other's burdens.
Oh, of course, yeah.
JV, help each other out, and I think that's also really important. So, what's next then? What do the next sort of 6-12 months look like for you?
So, continuing to continue to build the property portfolio, really, continuing to get more houses, redevelop them into HMOs. That is my main strategy, and that's what I want to do. Going to keep doing that for maybe 6 to 12 months at least, and then from there, I'm not 100% sure. I might look into going into more sort of development, that kind of thing. But basically, I've got sort of the cash flow. I've got a steady business, so I can look into whatever I want to do.
How many times have you been to a crash course?
I've been probably about 15 times. I sort of know all the different sections. I know what you're going to say next, basically.
15 times.
Yeah.
To the property investors crash course. What
Yeah.
would you say to someone that was thinking about attending the property investors crash course?
Definitely, I would say go. 100% go. It'll give you a good insight, a good basic insight into property and how to start. It's obviously a very sort of enthusiastic room, and it gives you a lot of very good information. I'd 100% say go.
Why have you been 15 times? And I'm sure you'll be coming again soon.
Of course. So obviously, I went once myself. Obviously, experienced it and signed up for the academy and everything like that. I went once and took my dad, and then all the other times I've been interested in going, both to pick things up again, what potentially I might have missed. There's always useful bits of information coming in, but also to help other people who are looking at getting into their property journeys and saying, look, I've managed to succeed in doing it. This is what I did, and obviously try and give back to them, really. Yeah,
I mean, a 23-year-old financially free in property is kind of rare, and also, every time you come, I know you bring people with you and you bring people along, but then they could then end up joint venturing with you.
Oh, so of course, yeah.
The more people that are aware of how to invest in property and how to make money and learn the skills, actually it just creates a bigger group of people that you can then do deals with, collaborate with, share problems with. Because I think a lot of people feel very competitive. They're like, sometimes even my success students, they'll become successful and then they'll almost say, I think you should stop running the crash courses now. You know, it's like they're successful because they came to the crash course, and now it's like, oh, let's stop running them now. But I love the fact that you're like, let's keep doing it, and I want to help.
Yeah, I obviously want to try and help other people and support other people in sort of developing their own property journeys.
Yes.
Because I couldn't have done it without support from you and support from other members of your staff and stuff like that. So I want to try and give back to them since they're starting, and then watch them grow.
That's great, man. So what would be your biggest, to kind of wrap up, biggest piece of advice to someone watching this? Maybe they're like John Raybould was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. University, no money, student debt, no property knowledge, no one in your family that's supporting you and wanting you to do property. You went from there to like up here. First pieces of advice.
You've got to do whatever it takes. I'd say educate yourself. And once you've got that level of education, you've just got to push through whatever problems you hit. You've got to get over them, do whatever it takes, and you will be successful, I would say. That's my bit of advice, whatever it takes.
I love that. Do whatever it takes. And sometimes people say to me, Samuel, when's the next crash course in Newcastle? I'm like, good news. We're running one in Birmingham next month. Oh, it's a bit far. I'll wait for one a bit closer. It's like, if you're so stoppable that you can't travel 4 hours when people are coming from all over the world, if you're that stoppable, you're never going to be successful anyway.
Of course.
So you may as well not come.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because you got to, like you say, you got to be someone who, when there's an obstacle, you walk around it.
Yeah, you got to find a way.
I'm done now.
You got to find a way to get over that obstacle.
Yeah. I've got no money. I can't get a mortgage. I can't get to the crash course. I can't find any deals. I've got bad tenants. Well, find a solution. Rich people find solutions. Poor people find problems.
Of course they do. I mean, I've had plenty of problems, but I view them as challenges.
Yeah.
And you get over challenges. Obviously, some people are very stoppable and they'll hit problems and they sort of give up. You can't, if you want to grow, if you want to be wealthy, and you want sort of a cash flow rich life, you can't afford to stop at problems.
No.
You get over the problem.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
Don't avoid problems. Be wealthy and solve problems.
100%.
Love it. Whose Winners Wednesday story have you enjoyed or has inspired you the most in the past?
So, I mean, I've loved obviously all of them, but I thought Anthony's was really, really inspiring. Sort of his sort of like pushing forward kind of attitude, his sort of attitude to get over problems and just really do whatever it takes. I thought his was really, really inspiring and really amazing.
You just heard it from John. If you want to watch Anthony John Wilmot's Winners on a Wednesday episode, it is very inspiring. I'd agree. You can check that out. It is right here. Also, if you'd like to come on to the Property Investors Crash Course, 2 days, absolutely free, you can do that right here. And also, don't forget to subscribe down over here.